AITA for refusing to be my sister's MOH after she said I can't bring my BF of 10 years and my children to her wedding because we're not married. I don't think I've ever been this blindsided by someone I love. Not like this. Not in a way that knocks the wind out of you so completely. You're standing there in your own home, dress bag in hand, with your heart pounding like you're in danger, except the danger isn't physical. It's emotional. It's betrayal. I've known my sister Nina for my entire life. She's 5 years older, bossy, intense, a little dramatic, but she's my sister. My blood. The one who used to pick me up from school when I had no ride. The one who taught me how to tweeze my eyebrows and fake confidence before my first date. And yeah, we've had our share of fights, loud, emotional ones, but we've always circled back. Always found our way home to each other. That's why when she asked me to be her maid of honor, I said yes without hesitation. I didn't ask for details. I didn't need a breakdown of expectations. I just showed up. I went to every dress fitting. I dealt with her endless Pinterest board dumps and last-minute texts about flowers and fonts and what kind of champagne flutes match her theme. I helped wrangle her 5-year-old during a tantrum in the middle of a cake tasting. I stayed up on the phone when she had wedding anxiety at 2 a.m. I did all of it, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. Because that's what sisters do. Or so I thought. It all blew up a week ago. I was standing in the living room, folding laundry, when she called. At first, she sounded normal tired, a little stressed, but excited. And then she said, "I just want to talk to you about the guest list real quick." I froze. I had a sinking feeling immediately. I said, "Okay." She goes, super casual, like it's nothing. So we decided to tighten it up a little. We're uninviting people who aren't married. So I'm really sorry, but your boyfriend can't come. I blinked. What? It's nothing personal, she said quickly. We're just trying to keep the ceremony aligned with our values. And since you two aren't married, it just doesn't feel right. You know? No, I didn't know. What I did know is that I've been with the same man for over 10 years. We have 2 kids together. We own a home together. We have life insurance policies with each other's names on them. We file taxes together. If that's not a marriage in spirit, I don't know what is. I was still trying to process it when she added, "And about the twins. Yeah, they won't be coming either." That's when my stomach dropped. "What do you mean the twins can't come?" I asked. "You said it wasn't a child-free wedding. Your kids are going to be there. Our nieces and nephews are going to be there." "Yeah, but they were born in marriage," she said. "Or at least their parents are married now. It's about symbolism, purity." I just don't want to create confusion or send the wrong message. I swear I stopped breathing. She said it like she was reciting some wedding planning checklist from a dusty etiquette book. Like she wasn't actively calling my family illegitimate, my children, my partner, my entire life. I reminded her through clenched teeth that she has 2 kids from a previous relationship, both born out of wedlock, and is currently pregnant again, and this is her first marriage. Her answer? "I've acknowledged my mistakes. I'm working to redeem myself. That's what this wedding is about, starting clean, but your situation's different." I honestly couldn't believe what I was hearing. I've never wanted to hang up on someone I loved more in my life. I told her flat out that this was the most hypocritical, judgmental crap I'd ever heard, and I wasn't going to be part of it. She started backpedaling, saying it's just for one day, and please don't ruin this for me. I told her she'd already done a good job of ruining it herself. That night, I called 2 of the bridesmaids who had also been planning to bring long-term partners, and they were just as shocked as I was. We talked it over, and together we decided we were out. We weren't going to smile through it. We weren't going to show up looking pretty while our partners and kids were blacklisted from a celebration of so-called values. The next morning, I texted her that I wouldn't be attending, that I wasn't giving her the Mo dress back either. I paid for it. I paid for the fittings. I'd lost hours, weeks of my life preparing for this wedding. And now she was telling me my family wasn't worthy of a seat at her table. No, absolutely not. Cue the meltdown. She went nuclear. Started blowing up my phone. Left 5 voicemails crying. Texted her parents. Told them I was being vindictive. That I was sabotaging her wedding. That she couldn't replace me in time. That she couldn't afford another dress, and the wedding was 2 weeks away, and how could I do this to her? My parents called, asking me to reconsider. Said I should rise above it. It's just one day, my mom said. Family is forever. But I'm starting to wonder what kind of family picks and chooses who's worthy of being seen. Who gets to be pure enough to show up in photos? Who gets to be honored and who gets quietly erased? Because if this is the standard, then what does that say about the rest of us? What does that say about the way she really sees me? My boyfriend has been nothing but supportive. He told me to go anyway, just for me. Sad he doesn't want me to lose my relationship with my sister over his exclusion. But I can't, I won't, because every time I imagine standing next to her in that dress, smiling for the cameras, pretending like everything's fine, I feel sick. I feel like I'd be betraying my own children, my own life, my own values. I thought I was her sister. I thought I was the one person she couldn't imagine her day without. Turns out she could, as long as it made her look better on paper. I didn't sleep the night after I told her I was out. My mind kept circling the same ugly questions. Was I overreacting? Should I have sucked it up? Was it really just one day like everyone kept saying? But every time I closed my eyes, I saw my kids. My 8-year-old twins, who've been counting down the days to their aunt's wedding like it was a vacation. Who helped me pick out my dress. Who asked if they'd get to dance with the bride. Who don't understand nuance or wedding politics. Or what it means to be deemed inappropriate for existing outside a marital certificate. I imagine trying to explain to them that they weren't invited, that their aunt decided they didn't count, that they were born into a family not quite respectable enough for a wedding invitation. What would I even say? Sorry, sweethearts. You're just not symbolic enough for the flower girl lineup. No, I couldn't do that. I couldn't show up without them. I couldn't stand next to my sister knowing that her version of purity meant erasing the people who've made my life what it is. So when I woke up that morning, tired and angry and still buzzing from emotional whiplash, I made a choice. No more back and forth, no more guilt. I sent a final message to our family group chat. No drama, no name calling, just truth. I said, one loved my sister, but I would not be attending a wedding where my family was unwelcome. And I would not return a dress I bought, paid for, and altered for a role I was stripped of because my life doesn't check someone else's box. Then I muted the chat, let the sparks fly without me. What I didn't expect was the ripple effect. Over the next few days, the story leaked out to more of the extended family cousins, aunts, people who hadn't even been invited, and once they heard the reason, the reaction split clean in half. Some of them were disgusted by what Nina had done. A few called me quietly and told me they wouldn't be attending either. One of my cousins even said she was glad someone finally stood up to the wedding cult. But then there were the others. The ones who started sending me veiled messages about family loyalty and letting people have their day. The ones who said things like, it's not a reflection on you. It's just about aesthetics. Or, you know how religious Dan is, just don't take it personally. But how not to take it personally when your own children are being used as moral caution signs. When your relationship, your 10-year, rock-solid, seen the worst and survived kind of relationship is treated like a moral liability. That's not just aesthetics, that's judgment. Dressed up in tulle and monograms and venue roles, sure, but judgment nonetheless. Meanwhile, Nina went full martyr mode. She posted vague captions online about betrayal and being abandoned. Before the altar, she made a few TikToks about losing her MOH and having to reorder dresses last minute, complete with sad music and close-up crying shots. At one point, she messaged me and said, I don't even recognize you anymore. You've changed. And that was the first thing she'd said that I agreed with. I had changed. I was done tiptoeing around family drama to keep the peace. I was done minimizing the life I built just because someone else decided it didn't meet their standards. And more than anything, I was done playing dress up for a wedding that had turned into a moral audition. But even through all of that, there were still moments where I missed her, where I remembered us as kids playing dress up, in our mom's closet pretending to marry movie stars, where I remembered whispering secrets in the dark on Christmas Eve, or painting each other's nails while trash-talking our exes. Sisters fight, that's not new. But this wasn't about a dress or a playlist or some catty jealousy. This was about being told, in no uncertain terms, your life doesn't belong here, and that kind of wound cuts differently. That kind of wound questions everything. The day of the wedding came, and you know what? It was quiet, peaceful, no hair appointments, no scrambling for bobby pins, no last-minute texts about centerpieces. My boyfriend made pancakes with the kids while I curled up with coffee and a book. Later, we went to the park, laughed, ate ice cream, took photos in the sunlight, and not once did I think, I wish I were there, because there was a place I was no longer wanted. I did get updates though. People love to gossip, even kindly. I heard the dress situation was a mess. That one of the backup bridesmaids tripped walking down the aisle. That Nanya looked beautiful, yes, but exhausted. Someone said she kept checking the crowd like she expected someone else to walk in. But I didn't, and I wouldn't, because I wasn't going to be the dramatic sister who showed up last minute and threw the whole thing off course. No, I was going to be the sister who stood her ground, even when it meant standing alone. A week later, Nanya called. I let it ring 3 times before answering. She didn't say hi, just sat there breathing for a second, then said, you really didn't come. I said, you really uninvited my kids. Silence. Then she muttered, I didn't think you'd actually walk away. I almost said, then you don't know me as well as you think, but I didn't. I just said, well, now you know. She didn't apologize, not directly, but she said the wedding wasn't what she thought it would be, that it felt hollow, that she missed me, that even though she was surrounded by people, something felt off. I didn't twist the knife. I just said I missed you too, because I did. But missing someone doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. And love doesn't mean pretending things are okay when they're not. We ended the call civilly. No grand resolution. No dramatic apology. Just a quiet truce. A crack in the wall that might someday let something through. That I'm not rushing it. I'm not chasing her for closure. I have my family, my real family, the one I built. The one that wakes up with me and tucks me in at night. The one that sits at the breakfast table laughing over syrupy pancakes and calls me Mom. That family doesn't need an invitation to be legitimate. We don't need a white dress and a DJ and a monogram hashtag to be worthy. We already are. A few weeks after the wedding, I thought the storm had passed. The group chats had gone. Quiet, the Instagram posts slowed to a trickle. People were moving on back to work, back to kids' schedules, back to normal. But there was still this unspoken tension hanging over everything, like a cold draft in a closed room. My mom hadn't. brought it up again, not directly. But every time I talked to her, I could hear it in the background, the disappointment she wouldn't say out loud, the urge to smooth it all over, to pretend it hadn't been that big of a deal. One afternoon, while the kids were doing homework, and I was chopping vegetables for dinner, she called. After 10 minutes of small talk about my nephew's school project and whether or not we'd seen the new Pixar movie, she finally said it. "You know your sister's hurt, right?" I paused, set the knife down. "I'm hurt too," I said. "I know," she replied. But she didn't mean it to come out like that. She had invited my family, Mom. She said my children, your grandchildren, weren't welcome because we're not married. How else is that supposed to come out? My mom sighed, long and heavy. She's just trying to change. Dan's family is really religious. She's under a lot of pressure. That word pressure hit a nerve. Like this whole mess was something that had happened to Nina. Like she wasn't the one who drew the lines, who enforced them. Like she was the victim of her own boundaries. "We've all been under pressure, Mom," I said. "But pressure doesn't excuse cruelty, and it doesn't justify hypocrisy." She went quiet, then changed the subject. I didn't push it. I didn't want another round of guilt-drenched diplomacy. I just wanted space, but space doesn't always come easy with family. The holidays were looming, and with them came the inevitable questions. Whose house are we going to? Who's bringing? What? Are you coming to Christmas Eve? And suddenly, the unspoken became unavoidable. Nusha sent out a group message mid-November, cheerful and upbeat like nothing had happened. "Christmas Eve at our place this year. Can't wait to see everyone." My stomach turned. I stared at the message for 10 minutes before replying. "We won't be coming this year. Hope it's a lovely evening." She didn't reply. But 2 days later, my dad texted me. "Can we talk?" I knew what it was about. We met at a coffee shop near his office. He's not a man of many words, blue collar, hands like sandpaper, old school quiet. But when he sat down and looked at me, he just said, "This whole thing, it's hurting your mom." That got me. I love my parents. Even when they frustrate me, even when they don't fully understand, I know they love us. And my dad, for all his stoicism, has always tried to hold the family together like he's patching drywall. "It's hurting me too," I said. "I know," he said. "I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying maybe just show up. Just for dinner, just to be in the same room again." I thought about it. I really did. But then I remembered the look on my kids' faces when I told them they weren't going to the wedding. The confusion, the sadness, the way they asked, "Did we do something bad?" That was my line in the sand. That was the moment I knew I couldn't fake it. Not even for dinner. "I'm sorry," I told my dad. "But I'm not bringing them into a space where they're seen as less than, not again." He nodded slowly. "All right," he said. "Just don't shut the door all the way." I didn't. I left it open. But I also started building a door of my own. My family, my house, our own traditions. On Christmas Eve, while Mina hosted whatever Norman Rockwell holiday she was trying to stage, we stayed home. My boyfriend and I cooked with the kids roast chicken, mashed potatoes, gingerbread cookies. We played music loud. We wore pajamas all day. We opened one present early. We laughed a lot. That night, as we curled up on the couch under blankets. And Christmas lights, I felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Peace. And it made everything else feel worth it. The dress, the argument, the silence. It was all worth it because this life we built is real. It's messy and imperfect and non-traditional, but it's ours. And it doesn't need anyone's blessing to be valid. But validation still matters, sometimes more than we'd like to admit. And a few days after New Year's, it came quiet, unexpected, and tucked inside a handwritten envelope. A card from Nina, no emojis, no glitter, just plain cardstock and a short note. "I've been thinking about everything, about how I handled it, about what I said. I know I hurt you. I know I was trying to impress people who don't even really matter. I'm sorry I let you feel small in a moment when you should have been celebrated. I don't know how to fix it, but I miss you. I miss the kids. I hope we can talk." I read it twice. Then 3 more times. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't enough to erase what happened, but it was something. A start, and that's what real reconciliation looks like. Not grand gestures, not forced family photos, but a single sentence that says, "I see you now, and I'm sorry I didn't before." I sat down that night and wrote back. Just a few lines. "We can talk. We'll take it slow, but thank you for saying something. I don't know what comes next. Maybe nothing. Maybe awkward coffee meets. Maybe therapy. Maybe silence. But whatever it is, I'm stepping into it with my head high because I didn't cave. I didn't shrink. I didn't abandon my family for the sake of someone else's image. And maybe, just maybe, that's the kind of example I want my kids to remember. That when someone tells you your life isn't good enough for their guest list, you don't beg for a seat. You build your own table. Months have passed since the wedding, and life has settled into something steady. The kids are back in school. Spring is in the air, and everything that felt so raw and jagged in the moment has dulled slightly with time. But every so often, something will bring it back: a bridal commercial, a passing comment from a friend, a memory that surfaces when I'm folding the dress that never made it to the aisle. It's hanging in the back of the closet now, untouched, protected in its garment bag like a relic from a version of the future that didn't happen. I don't plan to wear it again. Not because I'm angry, but because I'm different now. That dress was bought by a woman who believed her place in her sister's life was secure. That woman doesn't exist anymore. In her place is someone stronger, Someone who's learned how to say no. Someone who knows the cost of silence and the value of standing firm. My relationship with Nina is cautious. We've met for coffee a couple times. The first time was stilted, uncomfortable, two people circling around an elephant so big it practically fogged the windows. But she was softer, quieter. She listened more than she used to. At one point, she admitted, "I thought if I made everything look perfect, then it would feel perfect too." I nodded. I understood that impulse. The desire to control, to polish, to curate your life so tightly that no one can see the cracks. But the truth is, real love lives in the cracks. In the places where people show up anyway, even when you're not shiny and edited and dressed in matching colors. I told her, perfection doesn't keep you warm when you're alone. She looked at me and said, "No, it really doesn't. We're rebuilding something now, not trying to recreate what we had that's gone, but maybe something new, something real. The kids haven't seen her yet. I'm not rushing that. Trust, once broken, isn't a switch you flip back on. It's something you rebuild brick by brick with actions instead of apologies, but I've seen her trying, asking questions, texting more often, sending little videos of her youngest drawing pictures for the cousins. And I see the guilt in her eyes now when we talk about family. That tells me she understands, that maybe this didn't just change me, maybe it woke something up in her too. As for me, I found clarity in the chaos. My boyfriend and I are stronger than ever. Not because we weathered some big romantic ordeal, but because he never once made it about him. He let me have space, let me rage, let me process, and never once said, "I told you so," even though he probably could have. We've started talking about getting married, not because we feel pressured now, but because we want to do it on our terms. No altars for appearances, no invitations that double as judgments. Just us, our kids, and a celebration of a wife. We've already built. Maybe it'll be in our backyard. Maybe it'll be a picnic. Maybe we'll just wake up one morning and decide today's the day. I honestly don't care, as long as it feels like us. That's the thing I've learned from all this. The power of choosing your own path. Of building something outside the lines. Of refusing to shrink your love to fit inside someone else's frame. I used to think family meant doing whatever it took to keep the peace. Biting your tongue. Showing up no matter what. But now I know better. Now I know that peace built on erasure isn't peace at all. It's performance. And I won't perform for anyone. Not even the people I love. Especially not them. Because real love means making room for someone exactly as they are. Not just when it's convenient. Not just when it looks good in photos, but always. And if you can't do that, then maybe you're not the family I need around my table. I've learned that boundaries aren't barriers. They're invitations. They say, "This is where I end and you begin. Come in if you can respect that." Some people will. Others won't. That's okay. But once you know who you are, once you fought to protect your joy, you stop begging people to see you. You let them step up, or you let them fall away. Either way, you're free. I don't know what the next holiday will look like. Maybe we'll all be in the same room again someday. Maybe we won't. But whatever happens, I'll show up fully, whole, proud of the life I've built. Proud of the stand I took. Proud of the family I chose. Because I'm not just someone's sister. I'm a woman, a partner, a mother. And no wedding invitation or lack of one will ever take that from me.